So I just want to touch on a topic today that I have already raised earlier in the week, just in some social media posts, but it's something that's kind of playing on my mind because I've had a couple of consultations in this week where the issue has presented, and I'm seeing a sort of a replication of something that's happened before in a different context. So once upon a time, people were using, it's always going to potentially be happening, but there was a period where it became extremely prevalent that people were using allegations of domestic violence and domestic abuse in family law proceedings as a means of trying to justify what they were seeking, whether it was around children or property, but in most cases it was around the living arrangements for children. And it made it really difficult for, and this is not stereotyping, the majority of people who perpetrate domestic violence or who are alleged to have perpetrated domestic violence are men. And it would usually be an allegation against a father that he perpetrated abuse, and that's why the mother was withholding the children, and that's why dad shouldn't be seeing them, whatever the case was. And it was becoming so prevalent that many fathers who feared having those allegations made against them or were threatened with those sorts of allegations were perhaps not fighting as hard for their children as they really wanted to. And whilst there's always going to be cases where the allegations are real and they've happened, there were also a lot of instances where they were exaggerated or fabricated completely. And it's now happening in reverse with parental alienation. So there's a lot of research and papers around parents, predominantly fathers, using allegations of parental alienation as a counter-argument to allegations of domestic violence in family court proceedings. So mum says dad was perpetrating abuse and dad says mum's alienating. Because of that, I'm now encountering mothers that are fearful of acting legitimately protectively of their children for fear of that allegation. So it's the domestic violence thing, but it's come back around on the other side. And never in the history of human beings has reversing a discrimination been effective in resolving the issue. And I don't think I have to give examples. There's some pretty obvious ones. In this case, I've had mothers come to me with serious concerns around the father, and they've been concerns of, these are people who perpetrated domestic violence during the relationship, and they may or may not have misused alcohol during the relationship, and they've now escalated to using other illicit substances. And these mothers are so scared that they're going to be told that they've alienated their children from the father, that they're continuing to send them into these unsafe situations in the care of someone who could be intoxicated, affected by meth, or perpetrating abuse either to the children or at least exposing the children to abuse they're perpetrating on a new partner. And I've had to speak to these mothers and reassure them that there is a really big difference between alienating your children without due course and keeping your children safe. So that's what my quick video is about today. It's just trying to reinforce this substantial difference between acting protectively and alienating a child. And very simply, one of them is keeping them safe from potential physical and emotional harm, and the other one is literally inflicting that emotional harm. Neither of the mothers I spoke to spoke ill of the father. They were very factual about their descriptions of the concerns, and it frustrated me that I see so many children withheld without reason. Yet there's these mothers out there that are really trying to prioritise that relationship between their children and the other parent, to the extent they're having to come and seek legal advice to say, I'm really worried now. Should I really be sending them? And what's going to happen to me and the kids if I stop sending them? And I think it boils down to the primary considerations being around, the two considerations being around facilitating that meaningful relationship. That is always going to be overridden by the other side of it, which is keeping a child safe from harm. So that meaningful relationship, let's be honest, it's not going to be as meaningful as it should be if that parent is prioritising dangerous behaviours over the emotional and mental well-being of their child, and potentially physical well-being. So that's my quick video for today, and I won't keep rambling on about it. I just really want to reiterate that there is a big difference between it, and at the end of the day, it's 100% worth getting legal advice, because there can be a fine line between what would be considered a child at risk of abuse or at risk of harm going to the other parent, and it could be worthwhile getting that legal advice around that answer. But I hope that we can sort of move forward into a situation where there's better understanding, better awareness, the same as domestic violence, around what actually constitutes parental alienation, so that parents can act in the way that they need to act for the best interests of their children moving forward, and not be potentially sending them into unsafe homes when the other parent really needs to prioritise resolving their issues before the kids are able to go back to have that regular time with them. In any event, please contact your lawyer, have a chat with them. I would love to chat with you about it, and you can reach me either at jpflm.com, or you can call me 0466 090 434. Thank you.